I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. The Democratic National Committee chairman has said he is tired of the Democratic Party bringing a pencil to a knife fight. Sounds exciting. Sounds like the Democrats are trying to step up, but here's the problem. When districts are drawn to comply with the Voting Rights Act of 1965, you bring a pencil because of the history of racial segregation in neighborhoods in every state in the Union. The pencil is the key to majority-minority districts. If you bring a knife to the redistricting fight, you cut up a district so badly that African Americans and Hispanics will have no representation or chance of winning. African Americans must keep their eyes on Democrats and Republicans, or the end of Second Reconstruction is going to look just like the end of First Reconstruction: zero blacks in Congress. As victims of historic racial discrimination and segregated neighborhoods, we must be loyal to the cause and case for our own survival first. That's just my opinion. In this very, very special hour, our first guest is none other than David Day. David is the Director of Public Engagement and Programs at the Emmett Till and Mamie Till Mobley Institute. David is a seasoned executive and an astute connector who joined the Till Institute to lead public engagement and programming mission. David has served in a number of roles in the nonprofit, government, and private sectors. Most recently, David served as the Chief Operating Officer at the Rainbow Push Coalition, where he played an essential role in effectively managing the operational growth of the organization across a number of offices around the U.S. Prior to the Rainbow Push, David was Vice President of Development of Chicago State University and previously served as the Chief Administrative Officer of the National Black MBA Association. David is also the chairman of the board of directors for the premier youth mentoring organization, the 100 Black Men of Chicago. And as a member of the Development and Corporate Relations Committee of the 100 Black Men of America, Inc., he also serves as vice president of operations for the chapter development and the National Black MBA Association. David Day, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Jesse Jr., thank you so much for having me on today. And I don't know if you can see my video or not. I am trying to make sure that I'm in and on.
Well, one way or the other, I can definitely hear your voice, and we are live on the radio. So even as we struggle with getting your video quality, I can certainly hear your voice. David, how are you doing today?
I'm doing quite well, Jesse. Just continuing the fight. You know that story well. It's about continuing to fight, and we're really focusing in on young African American males. Not only with the Till Institute, but in particular, and especially with the with the 100 Black Men of Chicago. Our organization, we're celebrating our 30th anniversary this year, and we have a number of events that we do each year. We have mentoring programs. We have a South Side mentoring program, South Suburbs, West Suburbs, and we have a new mentoring program at IIT called Brogrammers, and it's a STEM program. So our mission, Jesse, is for lack of better terms, to continue to do good in the hood, and we're making every effort to do that with all of the programs that we have.
David, we have about 2 minutes before the break, and we have plenty of time to work out the visual technical problems during that break. But I do want to ask you this question. I have found it somewhat compelling that young African American men do need to be mentored in our history, but they also need to be mentored during this period of time where there seems to be so much confusion about the franchise, about voting, about the importance of voting. I want to ask you this about question. Understanding I have found it somewhat compelling. We have about a minute and a half before we come forward. American David, men, your thoughts do need difficult tasks mentored in our history, including mentoring Black men.
Yeah, I think that you're right. I think the whole concept of making sure that they understand that they have a voice and that their vote counts. And it's really critical when you look at some of the statistics of the leading cause of death for African-American men between 15 and 24 is homicide. And while representing only 6% of the population, African-American men represent 49% of prison inmates. Only 4 African-American males attend college, while 23 percent of those college age are either incarcerated or on probation. So it's really about us, and that's what we're trying to do with the 100 Black men of Chicago, is to let them see that there are other options, but they need to be engaged, and it starts with them voting.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. In the first hour on Tenacious Tuesdays, our very special guest is none other than Chairman David Day, Director of the Emmett Till and Mamie Till Mobley Institute. When we come forward, more with David Day.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Ron had a tax problem he just couldn't handle on his own.
I owed the IRS taxes for over 5 years, but I didn't have any money to pay the taxes.
Those years cost him dearly.
Most of it was fees and interest. It was horrible.
Ron finally called in the pros.
I called Optima Tax Relief, and boy, am I happy I did.
The leading tax resolution firm, Optima, is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. They've resolved over $1 billion for their clients. Ron was overjoyed.
They settled my account with IRS. I was ecstatic. They are a lifesaver. They are. I am so happy.
Take Ron's advice and call Optima now for a free consultation.
Yeah, don't do like I did and wait. Call Optima Tax Relief. Do it now. You'll be ecstatic like me.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewdd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you ready to be a part of the conversation that will help shape our nation's future? Get ready to join us for the Left Coast Forum, Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech, where progressive voices will come together to tackle the issues that matter most to working families across Los Angeles and beyond. From economic justice to climate action, from healthcare to housing, we're bringing together the brightest minds and most passionate advocates for real solutions and real change. With workshops, 2 major keynote addresses, and a closing reception with great music and good food. It's the Left Coast Forum, where your voice matters and your ideas take action. Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the LA Progressive. The future won't wait, and neither should you. Mark your calendar now to be there and be heard. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. In this hour, David Day is our very special guest, Chairman of the Board of Directors of the premier youth mentoring organization, 100 Black Men of Chicago. David, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Jesse.
David, in this mentoring space, I mean, this is comprehensive, and it's also very, very complex work. There's obviously the space of spiritual mentoring. There's also the space of physical mentoring. There's also the absentee father space. There is the incarceration space. Can you share with us in this, our longest segment, your thoughts on how 100 Black men conquer, if you will, how they take on this space in the lives of not only young men, but young women, and how difficult the task of mentoring is in our space.
Well, Jesse, I think that as an organization that is celebrating its 30th anniversary, it's really critical that we take a look at the process that we used to be successful, and understand that we have to adjust our process. What we did 10 years ago with young African-American males and females, we have to do something different today because times have changed. Our models, they will be what they see. So the first standard is that we have to make certain that we are individuals of integrity, of truth, of action. I teach a class, Jesse, called PRIDE, PRIDE, and the acronym stands for Personal Responsibility in Developing and Demanding Excellence. That the standards that you set for yourself should exceed the standards that others set for you. And we talk about the importance of not only responsibility, but accountability. The first thing that I tell young men and young parents, mothers or fathers, the first responsibility that your child will have, that they will be held accountable for, is making up their bed. It starts there. But also, mom and dad, what does your bedroom look like? So it's one of those things where you have to really understand the importance, obviously, of the visual, because a toddler only sees and hears things. They don't yet interpret what they're seeing and hearing. So if there's a lot of profanity in the house, and that toddler ends up going to school, and in second grade, and the principal calls the parent up saying, this child is cursing in class, and then the parent looks at the child and curses the child out in front of the principal. You have a sense of where that's going. But I think, though, the important thing that we teach, again, is accountability and responsibility, and setting that standard for excellence. Quick story, I remember coming home with my report card. I was really happy. I showed it to my mother. She looked at me. She looked at the report card. She looked at me. She said, David, they don't give A's in math anymore. This is a B. And she said, David, do you understand the only difference between that letter A and that letter B is that letter E for effort? So what are you going to choose to cut out? Is it TV? Is it going out and playing with your friends? So that's kind of what we try to make sure, that our mentoring is not just with the young men and young ladies. It's also with the parents, because African-American males, they require a different type of parenting, and there's multiple parenting styles. You have the authoritarian parent, and highly demanding, highly monitoring, but there's low responsiveness. You have the permissive parent, do whatever you want. You have the neglectful parent who just doesn't care, and you have the authoritative parent, which has the high standards, but there's a lot of feedback and a lot of, hey, great job kind of thing. So we really make sure that our the parents who are part of our programs, and that their students, that they are part of the mentoring as well.
David, let me just say that you gave us a lot of fat meat to chew on, and I know our producer Gina Towns would just love to hear me refer to Fat Meat Fridays, where she's the host of our program. But let me unpack some of it. Let's start with the mentors. How do you recruit mentors based upon the standards that you have suggested exist in your program? And the reason I say that is you just took us through a litany of, from making a bed to a mother cursing at a child who got brought to the principal's office. It just seems that in so many different areas that the mentoring relationship has to take place, that your mentors have to have an understanding of exactly what they're looking at for these various dynamics that occur across the mentee's entire life, for which the advice the mentor offers. David?
Well, first of all, we ask individuals who have an interest in joining the organization to become a volunteer. We have volunteer opportunities at our health and wellness fair. We have volunteer opportunities at our mentoring sites. We also have an economic empowerment program where we teach a certain classes like Wallet Wise, for example, which is a free financial education program to teach consumers the basics of budgeting, credit, banking, investing. We have a college scholarship fair, which I want to talk a little bit more about later. But we ask individuals who want to be interested to be a volunteer. Once they volunteered, if there is an interest to join, our program is set up where a member can nominate one person. So that one person is nominated, and then they are interviewed by 3 other members in the organization. And the question that we ask is, what do you bring to the game? And I think that we learned, again, a long time ago, we've been at 30 years, we've had almost everybody. We've had Don Thompson, the president of McDonald's. We've had Harry Coates, VP at McDonald's. We've had brothers who are vice presidents of State Farm. And one of the things that we realized, though, is we interviewed a young man. He came in, he had on green Gator shoes, everything. I said, oh, this is not going to work. He taught us a lesson. This young man was a journeyman plumber. And he taught us the lesson that we as Black men, we come to this game from a lot of different places. We aren't all Indian attorneys and doctors, even though we have a lot of attorneys and doctors. We also have brothers who are plumbers and electricians. We have a college fair every year. We have one coming up. Quick plug. It's October the 11th at the University of Illinois at the Isidore and Sadie Doran Forum. More on that later. It's October the 11th, Saturday. But we are also going to have, right now, Jesse, only 4% of African American males graduate out of college. 4. So what about the other 96%? So we're looking at having an event where we're calling it a career exposition, where we want to introduce them to careers where you do not need a college degree, where certification is all you need. You know, quick secret, I have a pilot's license. My dad was a Tuskegee Airman. You do not need a college degree to fly a 737. I can't fly one, but you only need to be certified. So we ask for members as we interview them, what can you bring to the game? Some people can only bring time working on Saturdays in our mentoring program. Some bring dollars and cents and their influence. Others are able to help us with our websites, etc. So it's just really critical that they have a game. And one of our other mottos, and I kind of made this one up, if everyone does a little, no one has to do a lot.
So those are the mentors. Now let's shift our focus for a moment to the mentees. Share with us what going back to school means. I was watching a CNN report just before our program where they've already had gun violence, first day of school gun violence in some states across the United States. Obviously, these are very, very difficult and troubled times. How do you select the mentees? How do you engage the mentees? And how do the mentees become part of the program?
The selection of the mentees, we tend to do word of mouth, especially if we already have a mentoring program that's been in existence for 25 years. We have a lot of mentees. As a matter of fact, one of our mentees that we had in high school, he joined our collegiate program, our College 100 collegiate program. He eventually graduated. We got him into internship programs in the summer, internship program after he graduated. He eventually became the president of the 100 Black Men of Chicago.
Wow.
So it's important that for our mentors, we have a program called Mentoring the 100 Way, which we train them how to do the mentoring. But for the mentees, what we do is that we make certain that they go through our program and then they are able to turn around. Even if they've been in the program for 3 or 4 years, we actually have them as mentors to the younger, 3 or 4 years younger mentees to help them understand. No, you don't say ain't. They'll do the correcting. And a lot of times what we realize is that we have to tune into their FM station in their head. Just because we said something didn't mean that they heard it. And so a lot of times we ask our mentees to interpret to the younger mentees what we said. So it's a constant program where when we have our gala every year, Jesse, the members, only 2 members are on the stage for the entire night. The president or chairman who says welcome, and at the end you would have the executive director that says thank you. The mentees run the entire program from beginning to end.
You know, I've been to a couple of your galas, and to see these young men in black tie.
Oh, yes.
To know that they're from the neighborhood.
Yes.
To know that they've struggled with speaking the King's English, but by the time they get to this gala, they are speaking the King's English. That they are eating with their forks and their knives, and they're being served, and they're standing for women when they walk to the tables and offering them their seats. I mean, it's a transformative process that gives them a sense that is different than the neighborhood, and that I find particularly fascinating. We've got about 5 minutes before we come forward, but what are the pillars, and how are they affected by the big, ugly bill, and how are we preparing for the issues of mentoring, education, health, and wellness, and economic empowerment across the reality that we find today as Americans?
Yeah, well, first of all, we do have our health and wellness fair that we have each year. We partner with corporations, other foundations and nonprofits to promote preventive health strategies and provide education on prevalent diseases that negatively impact our community. And with this health and wellness expo, it is focused towards African American males. A lot of times, just mental health. I'm actually working, and I think I had an opportunity to introduce you to Donnie Hathaway's daughter, who has a program where it is focused on mental health. So we make sure that from that health and wellness perspective, that we not only have these events, but that our mentees and our members are part of that. I mentioned earlier that we have an economic empowerment program. We have the Dollars and Cents Youth Investment Program, which is a financial literacy program sponsored by State Farm, where it is designed to provide high school students grades 9 through 12 with the opportunity to learn and apply best practice strategies for saving and investing. Another program we have under that economic development is the hands-on banking. That's sponsored by Wells Fargo, and that's designed for all ages, and is an easy and an enjoyable way to teach and learn the essentials of financial education, basic banking service. A lot of times, we don't understand the concept of money. There's only 3 things you can do. You can spend it, save it, and invest it. And even from the perspective of investing, we tell our students, no matter what they plan to do in their for a career, whether it's going to college, having a career, or having a trade, take finance courses and understand the importance of money and the importance of banking. We also, as I mentioned, have our college fair, and each year we have a holiday toy drive. But the important thing is for our young people and members, our mentees, as well as the parents, to understand that, our pillars are like the legs on a table. And that table is as strong as each one of those legs. If one of those legs on that table is shorter than the other 3 legs, the table will fall over. So it's really important that we embrace the fact that all of these pillars have to be equally as strong, equally as long for that table or your life to be balanced.
David, we have about just a couple more minutes before we come forward and the end of our break. I do have a question about whether or not that 4% number is in the 4% that you said of black men who graduate from college. What kind of retention programming in terms of black male mentoring to stay in college do we have at 100 Black Men?
Well, one of our strategies is there's a difference of getting in and getting through. So what we do is we embrace them. As I mentioned, a lot of the chapters, there are over 106 chapters nationally. And what we have is a collegiate program here at the University of Illinois here in Chicago. We have a 100 collegiate program where we have students, male and female, where we tie them with mentors. We have an e-mentoring program. So let's say that you are a member of the organization, you are a retired VP of a bank. You really don't need to know information about scholarships and everything, but you want to give back. So we connect them with students who may be in finance and in banking to help them to
David?
navigate and get through this thing called college.
David?
So really, yes, sir.
When we come forward, I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA 1580. More with David Day when we come forward.
The biggest names, the best conversations. You're riding with Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News Now. President Trump is ordering the Defense Department to establish special National Guard units that are trained to deal with public order issues. This comes as the president continues to float the idea of using the military to enforce law and order in American cities. Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott says he knows why the administration is targeting certain cities.
Because their cities run by Democrats and because, quite frankly, they have a lot of black people in them.
Friday marks the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. Katrina remains one of the most devastating natural disasters in U.S. history. And the Black Information Network will air a special about Hurricane Katrina Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. It's called Black New Orleans 20 Years After Katrina. It'll be hosted by Tammy Estwick. You can stream it on iHeartRadio. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Now got a SIG alert in Corona on the 91 eastbound, a McKinley Street off-ramp. We've got a stall blocking the right lane of that ramp, and it's always backed up there. Fontana, 10 eastbound after Cherry Avenue. Heads up, a tire is in the middle lanes. Linwood, 710 southbound at the 105. Got that accident blocking that transition. And still a SIG alert in Highland Park with that police activity. 110 northbound, right at Avenue 52. Only the left lane open.
Ignite your afternoons at Waba Grill's $5 happy hour with our 5-piece pork veggie dumplings and a value-sized premium beverage drink, like our tangy passion fruit lemonade. Enjoy $5 happy hour weekdays after 3 p.m. Only at Waba Grill.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Tennis fans watching Venus Williams in the U.S. Open Monday night did not see her break down in tears during her press conference after losing to Karolina Muchova of Czechoslovakia. The 45-year-old Compton native got emotional while answering a question about her health. Venus was away from tennis for 16 months after undergoing surgery for uterine fibroids. Monday night's first-round loss to Muchova was Venus's fourth match since starting her comeback in June. Despite the tears, Venus gave no indication she's thinking about retiring. Venus actually played very well in her loss to Muchova. Just in case Venus decides not to play anymore, here's a recap of her legendary career. 7 Grand Slam titles, including 2 at the U.S. Open. 46 singles titles overall, the most of any active player. 4 Olympic gold medals, and she was ranked #1 in the world for 11 weeks in 2002. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
At the tone, please record your message.
You ready?
Drop it!
Mr. Tavis Smiley, preach it. Thank you, man. Politics in this country is crazy. You put things in perspective that even I didn't. The right is playing fast and loose with facts and scapegoating everyone under the sun, especially black and brown people. As a white man, I do not agree with this, and I am on my black and brown brothers and sisters' side. Fight the good fight. Know that I am part of the resistance. Let's fight the power.
Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Hi, I'm LA City Councilmember Curran Price, inviting you to the 30th anniversary of the Central Avenue Jazz Festival, Saturday, September the 20th, from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. We've got 4 pavilions, 3 stages of live music, plus food, fun, and a marketplace all along historic Central Avenue between MLK Boulevard and Vernon Ave. Our featured acts this year are Gregory Porter, Pancho Sanchez, and Jasmine Horn at the 30th anniversary of the Central Avenue Jazz Festival, Saturday, September 20th, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. along Central Avenue between MLK Boulevard and Vernon Avenue. Come out and bring the whole family because this legendary celebration is free. For more information, go to centralavjazzfest.com. I'm LA Councilmember Curran Price, and I absolutely approve this message.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project.
Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out.
Just plead guilty, and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do you do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Our very special guest in this hour is a seasoned executive and astute connector who joined the Till Institute to lead public engagement and programming mission. David has served in a number of roles in the nonprofit, government, and private sectors. He's also the chairman of the board of the directors of the premier youth mentoring organization for African Americans, particularly African American men, the 100 Black Men of Chicago, and is a member of the Development and Corporate Relations Committee at the 100 Black Men of America. David, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Jesse, thanks again for having me on.
David, listen, something unique is about to happen in Chicago, and in my opinion, it does impact the mentor-mentee relationship, right? It's already happening in LA, so the 100 Black men in LA are dealing with it, and clearly 100 Black men of Washington, D.C., maybe even 100 Black men of Baltimore, Maryland, and God knows who's next. Each of these cities are going to be under federal occupation by the President of the United States. More specifically, in each of these communities, crime has been going down. And crime is largely associated, unfortunately, and however tragically, with Black men and Black people. It is not an accident that Donald Trump is targeting towns with Black mayors, and he is constantly hitting the buzzwords that somehow crime and Black people are synonymous. Mentoring young Black men in the context of a president who is sending in federal troops. Now listen to this part right here real carefully. Who are not even from Chicago, not even from Washington, D.C., not even from Baltimore, Maryland, not even from Los Angeles, but from Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, Mississippi, National Guardsmen and Army reservists that he is calling to service as National Guardsmen and federal troops to come to our cities with whatever they think about young Black men and impose on our cities some form of Donald Trump's law and order. I'm really interested in knowing how 100 Black men are coordinating their activities in light of what looks like an imminent federal engagement between our communities and the President of the United States.
Jesse, clearly this is going to be a challenge. I know Brother Davis, Olukoya Davis, is the president in the LA area, and certainly is dealing with the issues that we are about to deal with. I'm sure this is going to happen. What we've done, Jesse, is we've started what we call a conflict resolution training. I guess training is not probably the best word, but to engage young African American males and females in the concept of conflict resolution and having those discussions in our mentoring classes and understanding or letting them understand it's not what they say, it's how they say it, because the authorities are looking for you to look at them at the wrong way, much less saying something. So, we're trying to help, young Black men to learn how to isolate their problems, take personal responsibility for their actions, and negotiate kind of win-win solutions as they are navigating just through their life, much less if they are confronted by a policeman or a National Guard. And it's important for us to discuss the importance of identifying emotions before and during a conflict, what some past patterns are, and understand the different outcomes when they are emotional from when they are not emotional, and understand that they do control that. Because again, and this can just be a part of life, but a lot of times we don't prepare them. I know that coming up, our parents kind of prepared us. When you're driving, your first time you get in the car, your driver's license, make sure you hand them, say yes sir, say no sir to the police officer. But I think that it's just really critical today that the chapters nationally, that we do have a conversation nationally. We're kind of broken into regions where we have regional meetings and we talk about this. How do we prepare them for these instances where they may be stopped, or how do we prepare them when they're witnessing something that they know emotionally they want to be involved in? It's not getting involved, it's how you get involved. And we're hoping and helping to better prepare them, and I always say, and their parents, to deal with it.
You know what, David, I am proud of 100 Black Men for the efforts that they're undertaking. I think that the scale of federal occupation in these cities far exceeds any of our organizational capacities to address. I'd like to see the mayors of these cities engage with 100 Black Men publicly with press conferences, whatever is necessary to get the word out about not our changed behavior, because we're functioning under the First Amendment. We're functioning under the Bill of Rights and under the Constitution. I'm telling you, it's these mountain boys that are about to step into our cities.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm talking about, the guys you see at a pre-branded Cracker Barrel restaurant. I'm talking about the guys who went to Cracker Barrel before they changed the branding.
See?
And are very upset about Homeboy on the cover of the Cracker Barrel not being on the Cracker Barrel anymore. They're very angry about that. And they feel like Cracker Barrel is now woke as a result of that. And these people who feel some kind of way about this whole woke movement are now coming to our cities and potentially policing our streets with their own opinions about young African-American males and young African-American women. And I'm not convinced they are getting the proper training before they engage with our communities. They're not going through what 100 Black Men are taking our young mentees through. And on the scale of this problem, I certainly hope that your organization is ringing the bell of these elected officials and these local mayors, that they have to share with them what these foreign invaders represent in our communities and the biases that they bring to their potential engagement with federal authority.
Yeah, I think that the challenge is coming from a lot of different areas. One, you brought the point, we have young men from the mountain, as coming in, who already have a preconceived notion of what they're coming into and who they're dealing with, and they also, hey, I got the power because I got the gun, and they certainly can say "shut up, boy" if they want to. But I think one of the other things too, to your point of bringing the elected officials, it's not just ringing their doorbell, it's knocking down the door. and letting them know that they have to stand with us. We've kind of changed our mentoring since January with making sure that we focus on building that self-esteem, providing this unique opportunity to interact with committed, conscientious men and providing positive role models. But at the same time, we need to make sure that we draw a clear picture to these young people, young boys and young girls, young men and young women, on what's happening in this country, because they have a target on their back. And it's really critical that they know that they have to be even more careful than they have been in the past. So it's a challenge, but we've come through stuff, and I've learned, as my mom said, in life you gotta go through stuff to get through stuff. It's about you to take control or be controlled. So I'm thinking
in this moment about Wallace Gator Bradley. You better listen. Y'all better listen. David Day is a seasoned executive and astute connector from the Public Engagement Division and Programs of the Emmett Till and Mamie Till Mobley Institute. When we come forward, more on David and his work at Emmett and Mamie Till Mobley's Institute. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580. When we come forward, more with David Day.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Imagine a world without heart disease and stroke, where every person has the chance to live a full and healthy life. Join us for a walk to save lives at the American Heart Association's Greater Los Angeles Heart and Stroke Walk, Saturday, September 20th at the Rose Bowl. Every step made and every dollar raised means more people learning CPR, more life-saving research, and more time with the ones we love. Sign up at heartwalkla.org. The LA Heart and Stroke Walk is sponsored by Optum, UCLA Health, Keck Medicine of USC, and Dignity Health. Nearly 7 million Americans aged 65 and older are living with Alzheimer's disease, or AD. But did you know that Black adults aged 65 and older are twice as likely as white adults to develop AD? You may be able to reduce your risk by managing conditions like diabetes and high blood pressure, being physically active, eating healthy, and exercising your mind. To learn more about AD, the importance of early diagnosis and intervention, and a potential treatment option, visit treatalzearly.com. That's treatalzearly.com. This message is brought to you by AZI.
See website for details. Bills Happen is not a lender and does not make credit decisions. Hey, bills happen. So when you need extra cash fast, go to billshappen.com. Have you been turned down? Are your credit cards maxed out? Do you have bad credit? Go to billshappen.com. All you need is a job and a checking account. You can find a lender and get up to $5,000 cash as early as tomorrow at billshappen.com. Billshappen.com is the smart way to get a personal lender now. So if you need extra money for car repairs, medical bills, family emergencies, whatever you need cash for, go to billshappen.com and you can get the money you need as soon as the next day, up to $5,000. At billshappen.com, our process is safe, secure, and all online. No one to deal with in person, and Bills Happen does not charge you any fees to use our service. It's easy. When you need a lender, just remember, when bills happen, go to billshappen.com. billshappen.com for the cash you need now. billshappen.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach? Transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal? Prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, and this our final segment with the chairman of 100 Black Men of the city of Chicago. And those of you in Los Angeles, you can contact the 100 Black Men of Los Angeles, 310-947-7745, 310-947-7745. We certainly want you to stay in touch with this organization or at 100bmla.net. An organization that is very, very important to helping our men through this very, very difficult period. Also, you can support your local chapter of 100 Black Men LA, DC. The national website can help you find your chapter, 100bmoa.org/donate, 100bmoa.org.org/donate. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Our very special guest is none other than the chairman, David Day. David, welcome forward to the show.
Thank you again for having me back, Jesse.
David, it's a pleasure. Listen, let me ask you another question, because I think that it's the organization is titled 100 Black Men, but you also mentor young ladies.
That is correct. You know, we do have our collegiate program. I think I mentioned we have here in Chicago at the University of Illinois, the 100 Black Men of Chicago's collegiate program. And I would say the majority of them are females. It is, as I talked about earlier in the conversation, that fewer and fewer of African-American males are going to and graduating out of college. So we do have a large contingency of African-American females. We also have a programmers program. It's a STEM program at the Illinois Institute of Technology. Also, a number in that program are females. But we also partner with the Coalition of 100 Black Women, which is a similar program. And I think I remember you mentioning coming to our gala and the young mentees with their tuxedos. And we actually conduct classes with the Coalition of 100 Black Women here in Chicago, where there are etiquette classes, where we will go to a restaurant, we will sit down and we will show them the etiquette, getting the chair for the lady, understanding the forks, the spoons, the knives, understanding how to hold a conversation with a young lady. So it's really clear that we understand the importance as young men, what the power of African-American females are at an early age, and understand the importance of respecting them at an earlier age, and make certain that as they grow older, that respect it gets even greater.
David, can I use this opportunity to pivot to the other organization that you are associated with, the Emmett and Mamie Till Mobley Institute? We all remember the story. We've heard the story of the death of Emmett Till. And I remember Mamie Till Mobley when she would come to push on Saturday mornings and sit in the third row when she was here in Chicago. She was a faithful member of that organization. David, share with us more about the Emmett and Mamie Till Mobley Institute and what you're doing and how we can assist you.
I am so honored to be a part of the Emmett Till and Mamie Till Mobley Institute. Our drive is to make certain that name does not disappear. I think that my mother told me that you're born twice and you die twice. Your first birth is when you take your first breath. Your second birth is when you find out what your purpose in life is. Your first death is when you take your last breath. And your second death is when people stop saying your name. So it is important to me that he continues to live and that his story continues. This is the 70th year. August the 28th was when he was murdered 70 years ago. Had an opportunity to kind of have a quick chat with Reverend L. Sharpton, who has an event going on in New York, the March on Wall Street. And I told him, you got to remember, that was the day that Emmett Till was murdered. What we are doing, one of the things that we did this year is we had at the Chicago History Museum an internship. We had about 30 students that we recruited. We sent it out to all the high schools. They registered, we interviewed them, and we ended up with 30 students. And it was really about continuing the Till name. It was broken into two groups, one artists, the other were journalists. And we're talking about between 14 and 18 years old. And what was interesting, Jesse, half of them weren't Black. We had Palestinians, we had a couple of young Jewish, we had Hispanic students, and with them teaching me that that it's not just in our community that there's injustice. And how do you look at injustice from as a 14-year-old? Because that was the year that Emmett Till was murdered. So we had that institute on September the 20th. We're going to go back to the Chicago History Museum, and they're going to show their art and they're going to show their documentary. We are also planning, the Roberts Temple is where his services were held. We're renovating that. It is now on the registry for the history registry, and we are working also to have a garden created there. We are also Emmett was buried in Burr Oaks, and back in 1955, the Negroes were buried way back in the back where it floods. We're going to have, and now Mamie Till Mobley, her mausoleum is right at the entrance. We're going to move Emmett. We're having a mausoleum being built that is going to be put next to his mother, and we're going to have him recommitted. Next summer, we're taking the students on the same train that he took to Mississippi and show them what he saw in Mississippi 70 years ago when he was murdered. And then next year will be his 85th birthday. We're going to really celebrate that.
When Rosa Parks sat down on the bus that began the Montgomery bus boycott, Rosa Parks is reported to have said, when asked the question, "Why did you sit down on the bus?" she said, "I couldn't get the death of Emmett Till off of my mind."
Right.
And in our Bible, it says, "Remove not the ancient landmarks upon which our fathers," now Emmett Till, who 70 years ago was murdered, would be one of our fathers, "have set." His life set a landmark and a frame of reference for us perpetually. And David Day helps continue that work at the Emmett and Mamie Till Mobley Institute. David, give us the call letters, the email address on how we can reach that institute.
It's the website is www.tillinstitute.org. Go to the website. There are a lot of events that we are planning. We want this to go on and on. It is really critical that we bring young people in with the summer internship, and we realize that it's more than Black children who understand the importance of the Emmett Till and Mamie Till Mobley story.
David, I always ask our guests at the conclusion of their first hour to offer us a word of hope. We have about 2.5 minutes before our program comes to an end. I'd like to ask you to use that 2.5 minutes to share with our listeners, with our country, with the world, a word of hope.
I think that what we have to realize is when we think about the word significant and insignificant, and if we say, hey, the Earth is just one planet in the solar system is one solar system in the galaxy, and the galaxy is just, and we say, boy, how insignificant we are. But no, we're significant because there is only one David Day. There has never been one before. There will never be one now. What I've learned is none of us is going to get out of this movie alive. You're going to die. Live with it. When you die, though, you can't take anything with you, but you can leave an awful lot behind. And it's just really critical that we realize who we touch in our lives. We don't know. We don't know that we touch them until maybe later on, in our life that we found out we touched them. So I think that everyone needs to understand that they are significant. Every decision, I tell these young people, decisions that you make as a young teen is going to impact your grandkids. So be wise. There's a difference between, having the wisdom and actually executing from wisdom. So I just simply ask all of the listeners, be a part of the solution. As I said, if we all do a little, no one has to do a lot. This is not a pleasure cruise. Grab an oar and let's everyone please row.
David Day, in his own way, just cited for us Psalms 8,
There you
verse
go.
3, by King David.
That's it.
And I consider thine heavens, the work of thy fingers, the moon and the stars, which thou hast ordained. What is man that thou visitest him? This verse expresses awe at the immense power and artistry of God in creation, particularly the vastness of the heavens, and serves as a prelude to the questioning of mankind's significance in contrasts to God's amazing power. Thank you, David, for being on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Jesse, thank you so much again for having me.
David, let me. David, oh, I'm sorry. Gina's telling me now that I need you to sing. Is David supposed to sing, David? David?
No, see, she's being confused with that other guy.
I wasn't going to do this. I was going to leave it alone, but my producer has shouted across the studio. This is also the brother of none other than Morris Day. And we've had him for an entire hour, and our producer is trying to get him to say, "What?"
Right. No, I'm just going to go OEO. There you go.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You've been listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. When we come forward, more with Barbara on Wine and The Grind. I'm Jesse Jackson.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News. Now, President Trump is ordering the Defense Department to establish special National Guard units that are trained to deal with public order issues. This comes as the president continues to float the idea of using the military to enforce law and order in American cities. Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott says he knows why the administration is targeting certain cities.
Because they're cities run by Democrats and because, quite frankly, they have a lot of black people in them.
Friday marks the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. Katrina remains one of the most devastating natural disasters in U.S. history. And the Black Information Network will air a special about Hurricane Katrina Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. It's called Black New Orleans 20 Years After Katrina. It'll be hosted by Tammy Estwick. You can stream it on iHeartRadio. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Ignite your afternoons at Waba Grill's $5 happy hour with our 5-piece pork veggie dumplings and a value-sized premium beverage drink, like our tangy passion fruit lemonade. Enjoy $5 happy hour weekdays after 3 p.m. Only at Waba Grill.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Tennis fans watching Venus Williams in the U.S. Open Monday night did not see her break down in tears during her press conference after losing to Carolina Muchova of Czechoslovakia. The 45-year-old Compton native got emotional while answering a question about her health. Venus was away from tennis for 16 months after undergoing surgery for uterine fibroids. Monday night's first-round loss to Muchova was Venus's fourth match since starting her comeback in June. Despite the tears, Venus gave no indication she's thinking about retiring. Venus actually played very well in her loss to Muchova. Just in case Venus decides not to play anymore, here's a recap of her legendary career. 7 Grand Slam titles, including 2 at the U.S. Open. 46 singles titles overall, the most of any active player. 4 Olympic gold medals, and she was ranked number 1 in the world for 11 weeks in 2002. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader. KBLA Talk 1580. Follow the leader. If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580. That's right. Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580. We've got a lot to talk about. By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. Got your black. Follow the leader. Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
It's Tenacious Tuesdays on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. And in this hour, our most tenacious host, Attorney Barbara Arnwine, president and founder of the Transformative Justice Coalition, internationally renowned for contributions on critical justice issues, including the passage of the landmark Civil Rights Act of 1991 and the 2006 reauthorization provisions of the Voting Rights Act. I sure hope she's around in 2028 or 2026 when the new Congress hopefully reauthorizes the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Barbara, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Barbara, I think your mic might be muted. Barbara's
there you go.
There she is.
There you
Barbara,
go.
listen, I was with Gina last week, and we said that when we start the Barbara Arnwine program show, we just need to have a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Barbara, let them have it.
Hi, everyone. It's so good to be here. And I am, thrilled to participate in today's show. There goes the countdown.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Gina. Gina put a countdown in the middle of the program. I can't believe it. I thought we had an audio block out here for a minute. Barbara, let's jump right into it. 30th anniversary of Katrina.
Yes.
Please share with us the parallels before we get to the Calais decision and Turtle Mountain and some of the other issues that I absolutely know you want to talk about. The 30th anniversary of Katrina. There are some amazing parallels between then and now. Barbara, as you know, this hour is all yours.
The most vicious parallel is the dereliction of duty by the government to people who it doesn't care about when they're in need. It's I can't help it, you folks. It took, as everybody knows, Wisconsin had a horrid flooding. It did major damage all over the state of Wisconsin. During the same time as that flooding happened, the President of the United States decided that he would nationalize the National Guard, federalize the National Guard, and deploy them in Washington, D.C., based on a lie and deceit, a very deceptive message, quote, all of this crime. While in Wisconsin, people are begging, federal government, we need help. Federal government, we need help. How long do you think it took him to get any kind of FEMA or anybody else on the ground in Wisconsin? How long do you think it took?
Did they ever come?
Well, it took them more than a week.
It sure did.
To even announce that they would come. Not to get there. And there are people, as I saw this weekend, who said they still haven't been contacted, still no information. Priorities are wrong. Wisconsin, he's going to ignore because that doesn't serve his politics, his political purpose. But DC, he's going to go all in 1,000% on racial control and nationalize overnight, have people all running around, and the only thing they're doing is making tourists go, oh, can I get a shot with a picture with a National Guard? Because it's just insane. And now he's giving them guns. And while these people are still hurting all around the country from these natural disasters, and he has not deployed FEMA in any real sense. The people who suffered the wildfires in California still suffering. The people who suffered the flood in Texas still suffering. The people who were the victims of the hurricane in North Carolina still seeking relief. Folks, there's something wrong when you can do hateful actions and talk about crime and penalizing 14-year-olds and make-believe stuff and make all this stuff up. But when there's a real need, you can't be there. you're the federal government. So in FEMA, because I was very involved in FEMA, in their Hurricane Katrina recovery, folks, we actually sued FEMA. It's a case that you can find. It's called McWaters versus FEMA. That was the litigation that my organization brought against FEMA for failing to assist people who were in need at that time. When we filed that case, I want you to know, Jesse, when we filed the case, you got to know that people were, it was so, we were considered so out of line. People said there was no way we could win that case because no one had ever won a case against FEMA. And they said that, you know, you're just wasting their time. In fact, they thought we were so insane to file the case that in Las Vegas, they put up a betting line against us.
Wow.
People could go and bet how much we were going to lose the case by.
Barbara, I've got to break for it. I got to break right here. We're looking forward more on the 30th anniversary of Katrina and parallels between what is taking place with Donald Trump's engagement with federal troops in the nation's African-American cities. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580. When we come forward more with Tenacious on the Grind with Barbara Arnwine.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Ron had a tax problem he just couldn't handle on his own.
I owed the IRS taxes for over 5 years, but I didn't have any money to pay the taxes.
Those years cost him dearly.
Most of it was fees and interest. It was horrible.
Ron finally called in the pros.
I called Optima Tax Relief, and boy, am I happy I did.
The leading tax resolution firm, Optima, is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. They've resolved over $1 billion for their clients. Ron was overjoyed.
They settled my account with IRS. I was ecstatic. They are a lifesaver. They are. I am so happy.
Take Ron's advice and call Optima now for a free consultation.
Yeah, don't do like I did and wait. Call Optima Tax Relief. Do it now. You'll be ecstatic like me.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you ready to be a part of the conversation that will help shape our nation's future? Get ready to join us for the Left Coast Forum, Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech, where progressive voices will come together to tackle the issues that matter most to working families across Los Angeles and beyond. From economic justice to climate action, from healthcare to housing, we're bringing together the brightest minds and most passionate advocates for real solutions and real change. With workshops, 2 major keynote addresses, and a closing reception with great music and good food. It's the Left Coast Forum, where your voice matters and your ideas take action. Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the LA Progressive. The future won't wait, and neither should you. Mark your calendar now to be there and be heard. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We're with the president of the Transformative Justice Coalition, Attorney Barbara Arnwine. Barbara, welcome forward to the show.
It's great to be back.
Barbara, 30 years ago, I think that'd be about 1995, for those of our listeners who were not here 30 years ago and are too young to remember, I was 30 years old at that time. Today I'm 60. Kanye West famously said, George Bush doesn't care about black people. That's what he said 30 years ago. But that's not all he said. He specifically said, George Bush doesn't care about black people. They're saying black families are looting and white families are just looking for food. Giving the army permission to shoot us. That's the whole quote. Barbara, please consider continuing the parallels that you were drawing, the work that your organization did with respect to Katrina, the lower Ninth Ward in Louisiana. Bring us up with that data point to the callousness that we are seeing in our urban areas today. And when you finish with that analysis, we'll shift our attention to the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
Folks, it all goes back to government believing that its only role when it comes to black people is racial control. If you're going to use law enforcement, it's only not to help, not to protect, not to serve, but for racial control. And it's to keep those black people in line. So you had, folks, after Katrina, there was literally a case that was prosecuted and officers went to jail because instead of helping people they saw in need, they shot them. They shot and killed those people because they just assumed that these were black people in areas that, quote, were traditionally white areas. They were fleeing, black people fleeing from the flood. And they decide to shoot and kill them. Shoot and kill without asking questions, without trying to protect. In those cases, that particular case went all the way for years in litigation, and finally the blue line cracked, and some of the officers involved confessed. And I just want people to understand that, race, I saw somebody said today, they always get angry when you talk about racism online, and they're always saying things like, oh, you people see race everywhere. Well, the problem is that it is everywhere. Did you see the new poll that just came out?
I did not.
There's a new poll out. It's a Gallup poll, people. You can look it up. It just came out. It's striking because one of the things it finds is that 64, a little bit over 64% of all Americans all the races, put together, say that 64% say that anti-black racism is widespread in America. That's everybody, white, Latino, Asian, black, 64%. It's shocking. It's the highest that number has ever been since, and it's even higher than it was in 2008.
Is that more than any other ethnic group? For example, I would think that discrimination against, based upon the news, that anti-Semitism might be ranked higher, or that anti-Hispanicism,
anti-black racism,
more than immigrants.
Anti-black racism.
Wow.
And what's shocking about this poll? There's a couple things that's really shocking. I was unaware that since 2021, since 2020, basically, the George Floyd incident, the impact of George Floyd is still with us. It may not be, the monetary, it may not be the people in the streets, etc. But guess what? That poll went up to 60% during the time right after George Floyd about anti-black racism. It has never gone below 60% since. But it's now up to 64%. You know what else has happened in the polling? That's really shocking people. Get ready for this. In 2016, when President Trump was first elected, 41% of all Americans, mainly white Americans, said that anti-white racism was a major problem in America. 41% in 2016. Guess what that number is today?
I can't
Guess what
imagine.
the number is today?
Anti-white. It's got to be higher because of the rhetoric that it's lower. I thought Donald Trump's rhetoric might make you actually feel that white folks were really being discriminated against. What are you saying, Barbara?
It's down to 20. I think it's 28%.
So in short, don't nobody believe white folks are being discriminated against.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, I couldn't believe this. I said this is amazing.
So the people complaining that they're racially discriminated against are not being racially discriminated against. The people who can't even complain they're being racially discriminated against are being racially discriminated against. Oh, wow.
Yes. And I mean, it's mind-blowing. I mean, this is mind-blowing, people. And I mean, this is a brand new poll. And it's not like it's last year, a couple weeks ago. It's a brand new poll, Gallup. And which means, it's very professionally done. And what's interesting to me about this is that number, that 28%, is what? It's almost totally consistent with the numbers for MAGA, right? It's fascinating. So one reason why Trump is attacking the Smithsonian, why he's attacking Black history, is because the more white people learn, the more they understand the racism that predominates in our society. And guess what? Why he really wants to kill it, not because he just doesn't want them to know, because they start saying, well, something ought to be done about it. And that's what he doesn't want.
Wow. I had no idea, Barbara, that it's like, here's the truth based on what Barbara just said.
Yes,
he should be leaving the African American History Museum alone. And he should be attacking the American History Museum. That's where the lie is. It has nothing to do with our truth. It has everything to do with the way they tell their story, not the way we tell our story.
And he's not fooling anybody. Because even white Americans are saying, something wrong here. It's quite the, I mean, come on. Guess what the other poll that's out that got me going? I mean, there's another poll out, folks. I mean, I know y'all saying, whoa, where'd she get all this stuff from? Because I read, I study. All right.
Tell them, Barbara.
I don't sit around just, playing all day. So one of the things that the other poll, this is an August 6th poll that came out. Guess what it says? And I said, whoa, go on now. That poll kind of got a little bit buried, but it's resurfacing now. That poll shows that since May of 2025 of this year, black folks that, and you talk about going back to Katrina, since May of 2025, Trump has lost 25% of his black support. Did you hear me? 25%. His approval rating among blacks has dropped by 25%.
So there are some black supporters.
All-time low.
So you're saying there are some supporters of Donald Trump who are African American, but the polls are now suggesting a major black buyer's remorse of Donald Trump. I mean, they can't go back home and explain to nobody why we're losing everything.
And it's not just the people who voted for him, but the people who didn't vote. The people who didn't vote for him but said, okay, he ain't going to be that bad, right?
That's what they said.
Even though he won, he's not going to be that bad, blah, blah, blah. Honey, what do you think the black approval rating is for Donald Trump right now as we sit here?
Oh, I sure hope it's in negative numbers. Is it below zero?
I wish. It's 11%.
Okay.
But that's
It's
lower.
still too high. That's still too high.
But that's lower than the vote count he got.
Listen, this is the moment where every African American that I know says that they are particularly impressed with the Jewish community, that when you affect one of them, you affect all of them. Any form of anti-Semitism anywhere in the world is an attack on Jewish people everywhere. That's what they say. And African Americans listen to that. May or may not be true, but that's what they say. And we often say as African Americans, why is it when something happens to one of us, we don't all feel the same way? We often say we all should feel the same way they feel when they get attacked, right?
Well, but I think that if you did the Jewish numbers, I mean, let's go back to post October 7th. People tend to forget that some of the strongest leaders of the stop punishing Gaza movement were Jewish. People forget that. And you know why? Because the only people they've been persecuting have been the Arab people. They have not been persecuting all those Jewish leaders.
So I would say that would be true, Barbara. I would say that would be true about Gaza, Barbara, as we engage a little bit here. But I would say on October 7th, every one of them felt the same way.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I felt the same way in that moment.
Yes.
That reaction was just universal. We did not like what happened.
Right.
What took place after October 7th, shocks the conscience.
Right.
With the number of people who've been killed and the starvation and not getting aid in, that shocks the conscience. And I get that. But the point is, though, for Black people, we have to develop what my dad calls an insult level, that when something happens to a George Floyd, it happened to your son, to my daughter, to all of us at the same time. And we ought not be trying to make excuses. Well, the police didn't have his knee on his neck. He had it on his back. No. That could be any one of us. And I think the principle associated with that is the kind of
Jesse, you want 100%. Jewish people don't get 100%, period. Not even after October 7th. And we should also be aware that 84% of all Blacks are mad as hell with some Trump. 84%. They're not missing the racial subtleties. I mean, he's tried to, I'm making it safer for Black people. That beautiful world, the beautiful Black women in Chicago.
I sure hope you all get the podcast. You all have to see Barbara. Barbara, they've got to see you. They can't just hear you. I mean, this is dramatic. Her expressions. I get it, Barbara. No, please, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I should have allowed the whole entire thing to finish. It was beautiful.
It's beautiful Black women who wanted to send troops to Chicago. Turns out it was what? One fool. But anyway, I mean, come on, folks. He's his lies. One thing he's been good at over the history has been able to lie and have a Teflon-like effect that nothing sticks, right? But Black folks are beginning to wake up bad and hard and fast because they're hearing, I always said, now, folks, if you've been watching this show, what have I been saying? I said they're starting with the immigrants, they coming for the Black folks. I kept saying that. And what's happening now is that he's making the Black shift as the Epstein files are, eating at him as he's trying to cover that up, as he's trying to feed his base some raw meat to make them turn their attention away from the Epstein files. He's going to their old, always worked mantra, their always work playbook, and that is blame the Black folks. Get everybody angry and wanting to punish the Black folks. That's why he's talking about troops. That's why he put troops in D.C. That's why he's talking about putting troops in Chicago, Baltimore. Did you notice all these Black cities?
And in Los Angeles. And in Los Angeles.
And Los Angeles. But be clear, folks. Be very, very clear. He already did L.A. That was his little immigrant, his first, little evil, attempt to make everybody be hateful towards immigrants. Well, that didn't go far enough. They don't have enough They lied, and talked about all these millions and millions of, immigrants who were running around in the country, stealing jobs, whatever the hell they were telling people. That was a lie. And now they run out of. They don't have enough immigrants to arrest. And they don't know what to do. They can't even meet their quotas, their daily quotas of 3,000 arrests all over the country a day. They can't come up with it because there aren't enough people in the United States who are undocumented, who have committed crimes. There just aren't enough. And they lied about those numbers. And so now he can't do his little parade, of the immigrants. So instead, he wants to parade the blacks.
Barbara?
And he's turning to the blacks.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. When we come forward, more on the grind with Barbara Arnwine, Tenacious Tuesdays on Jesse Jackson Jr.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News Now. President Trump says he wants the death penalty for any murders in Washington, D.C.
Anybody murders something in the Capitol, capital punishment, capital punishment.
He made the comment while touting the National Guard intervention in D.C. during his cabinet meeting. J.M. Smucker Company, which owns Hostess Products, is recalling its chocolate ding dongs due to potential mold contamination. The affected snacks have the best buy date of August 30th through September 3rd. The company says do not eat them because of the risk of ingesting mycotoxins. And Drake is the new owner of Tupac's Death Row pendant. Pac wore the chain for the cover of his 1996 album, All Eyes on Me. Drizzy did not reveal how much he paid for it. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
In Long Beach on the 405 South to the 710 North connector, we've got a stall on the shoulder of that transition. In West LA, 405 South to the 10 East connector, got a crash partially blocking that transition. And we still have that SIG alert in Highland Park, 110 northbound between Avenue 52 and Avenue 60. Have that police activity, and an investigation is ongoing. Only the left lane is going to be open there.
Ignite your afternoons at Waba Grill's $5 happy hour with our 5-piece pork veggie dumplings and a value-sized premium beverage drink, like our tangy passion fruit lemonade. Enjoy $5 happy hour weekdays after 3 p.m. Only at Waba Grill.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Tennis fans watching Venus Williams in the U.S. Open Monday night did not see her break down in tears during her press conference after losing to Carolina Muchova of Czechoslovakia. The 45-year-old Compton native got emotional while answering a question about her health. Venus was away from tennis for 16 months after undergoing surgery for uterine fibroids. Monday night's first-round loss to Muchova was Venus's fourth match since starting her comeback in June. Despite the tears, Venus gave no indication she's thinking about retiring. Venus actually played very well in her loss to Muchova. Just in case Venus decides not to play anymore, here's a recap of her legendary career. 7 Grand Slam titles, including 2 at the U.S. Open. 46 singles titles overall, the most of any active player. 4 Olympic gold medals, and she was ranked number 1 in the world for 11 weeks in 2002. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader. KBLA Talk 1580. Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcasts of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black. Follow the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach? Transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal? Prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We, in the not too distant future, are going to begin a countdown for the Barbara Arnwine show. Just say, Barbara, I'm only here to announce the breaks. Here we go. She told me to watch. Oh, Barbara.
You know that's not right. That is not right.
Barbara, can we turn our attention to the Voting Rights Act, and then the last segment and a half or so, you can just bring us up to date on everything we need to know. I want to start with Louisiana versus Calais. This case challenges a new congressional map in Louisiana. I think it's the Cleo Fields district that created a second majority black district to remedy a previous map that illegally diluted black voting power. The key issue: the court will examine whether drawing a district to comply with Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, which bans racial discriminating in voting, constitutes an unconstitutional racial gerrymander or racially drawing the district in the first place under the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. How concerned are you about Louisiana versus Calais?
I am very concerned about the court. The lawyers in the case, it's the Legal Defense Fund, they have been extraordinary. They have done such a good job. The law, previously established law, is all in our favor. So in order to rule the wrong way, the court is going to have to go through major contortions. The problem is that we know they can do that, right?
But twist it up like a pretzel with their logic.
Right. Exactly. We're just, totally all crazy. We know that they can do that because we know what they did in 2013 in the Shelby case. They can twist logic, twist facts. And in fact, some people are literally arguing in this case that the Voting Rights Act, Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, which basically mimics the language of the 15th Amendment that says that, that you cannot discriminate on the basis of race in voting, that they basically are saying that that section should be unconstitutional because there's no evidence of racism in voting right now.
Even though the language mirrors the 15th Amendment.
You've heard me. Did you hear me?
Unbelievable.
And the fact that you don't just win a case, you got to file a case and prove it, right? But they're arguing that the whole section of the Voting Rights Act should be invalidated. So they're trying to use Shelby versus Holder logic now to apply to the whole totality of the voting rights statute. Folks, this is so dangerous. And people, it's all about this is coming up on the redistricting. They don't want to have they don't want a power share. They don't want to have black power at all. And just like we saw in Texas, where they redrew those maps so that they could reduce the number of blacks in Congress from Texas, and that's what those maps will do. We're going to sue them. Hopefully, we win there. Because it's racial gerrymandering of the worst sort in Texas. But here you got Louisiana that was forced to do the right thing. And then you got the non-black. And that's what they call themselves, Jesse. The non-blacks. The non-blacks. They don't say they white. They call themselves the non-blacks who have brought this case against the redistricting, against the the existence of two black majority minority districts. And it's not, I couldn't believe it the first time I saw the term non-blacks. I said, well, who the hell are these folks?
Barbara,
And,
there's no such thing. There's no such thing as a local Supreme Court decision. When the Supreme Court of the United States rules in a major case like this, it sets precedents all across the country, from sea to shining sea. In every congressional district, every state plan can be thrown into a quandary if, in fact, Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act is stricken down.
Well,
if I ask that question, isn't that includes Hispanic districts, right? I mean, I'm aware of lots of Hispanic districts that are drawn pursuant to the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
If, in fact, they win, half of the Congressional Black Caucus disappears.
Half of the Congressional Black Caucus disappears.
A good percentage of the Latino caucus disappears. They know what they're doing, folks. They're trying to institutionalize artificially white power and white political domination. And we know that they got people on the court who are sympathetic to that, who are themselves, obsessed with those kinds of issues. And as somebody was saying, given the corruption on the court, and yes, folks, I said corruption on the court, because if you're taking $5 million and taking trips and lavish trips from billionaires who got issues before the court, who got cases and matters before the court, and you're taking their money, you telling me that somehow you are impartial? No way. No way. That's corrupt. So we got corrupt justices sitting on the court, and they have too much say on what's going to happen with this case. The other thing, but think about it, folks. This also has to do with Katrina, because if you have the right Congress, the right Congress would be saying a couple things right now. They would say, on this anniversary of Katrina, what has happened? What else needs to be done to make the people of Katrina whole? And I'm not just talking about Louisiana, New Orleans, folks in the 9th Ward. I'm also talking about Gulfport, Mississippi, where, there was a tremendous loss of life. Hundreds of people died. I'm talking about, all those areas. I swore I would never forget the people of Katrina. I never will, because we have to do more. In that case I mentioned to you, that case where they were saying we're going to lose it, the McWaters versus FEMA case, we won it. And that's why so many people were able to get relief from FEMA. And the fact that FEMA's been allowed to just ignore people's needs, and especially for those of you in California right now, in Los Angeles, in Altadena, all over, who have suffered from the wildfire, FEMA can do better.
Barbara,
And
just
it
this
has
week,
to do better.
Barbara, just this week, and I know that we're coming forward in just a moment. Just this week, the Supreme Court in the state of Mississippi,
Yes.
a federal judge, struck down the state's plan and says that the more than 40% of African Americans in the state of Mississippi are entitled to a second congressional district. Another district that Congressman Benny Thompson should not be the only member of Congress representing nearly half of the state's African Americans. That the state itself, Democrats and Republicans in the state, need to draw another district in Mississippi that gives African Americans a chance to serve. Under the Louisiana versus Calais case, the federal Supreme Court, and under Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa Indians versus Howe, it is quite possible that even before Mississippi can draws another congressional district to give African Americans representation in that state, they could strike down the Voting Rights Act entirely, and we can lose not only the district they just gave us permission to draw, we can lose Benny Thompson's district.
Folks, this is serious.
I got to go to break right here. I got to go to break right here, but I promise you we're coming right back to Barbara Arnwine. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580. More on the grind with Barbara Arnwine when we come forward. The entire.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're an African American mom who is pregnant or have a baby under 6 months old, you deserve care that lifts, listens, and lasts. Black Infant Health is for you. It's a free program with individual support, group sessions, and resources to start your mothering journey. BIH makes space for moms and their families to create community. Learn more about the programs in Los Angeles County. Check us out at blackinfanthealth.org.
It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Our very special guest in this hour is the president of the Transformative Justice Coalition, Barbara Arnwine. Barbara, listen. Welcome forward to the show. I think your mic is still muted.
Great to be here.
Thank you. Barbara, listen. Folks, y'all need to listen. Barbara Arnwine knows the routine by now. She knows the last 2 or 3 minutes. I always save it for her word of hope. She already knows that. So she knows what the out time is at the top of the hour, which is in exactly 10 minutes. She got 10 minutes. She got 10 minutes. She got 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
I'm giving Barbara a chance to clear her throat. And once her throat is clear, she's going to have 9 minutes and 30 seconds to unload everything she wants to unload, including how we can support her and her organization. Barbara, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, On the Grind with Barbara Arnwine.
Well, thank you again. To the people of Katrina, everyone who lost your homes, everyone who's rebuilt, New Orleans, I'll be there soon because I have family in Louisiana. I have land in Louisiana. My mom is a native of Louisiana. And so Louisiana, New Orleans is very special to me. And I'm there all the time visiting and working with people in Louisiana and especially in New Orleans. And I want folks to know that you suffered. Most of the people who ever lose homes in a natural disaster rarely recover. The fact that people have been able to rebuild, the city's not what it used to be. The fact that people are doing everything they can to make a great life and have made that city vibrant and beautiful again is a tribute to you. And I just, pray for all the people who suffered and lost during Katrina. To those of you in Mississippi who lost so many lives, over 300 people, I want you to know that our hearts will always be with you and thank you for what you've done. The people of Gulfport, the people of all those areas, we see you, we hear you, and we know that you deserve every bit of justice that you can achieve in this society. We also know that the greater imprint of racism is here. And that, sadly, we don't have an administration that has a common sense and decency to respond to your needs. But that doesn't stop us. We never stop because we know that our fight is not a fight of one day, 1 hour, of just minutes. It's a fight of generations, and we will prevail in the end. So don't ever, give up. Don't ever turn your back. I know people who have successfully come through this period, and I know people who turned their backs on New Orleans and live elsewhere now. But I just, really want to give so much credit and so much love to the people of New Orleans who have struggled onward and forward. Thank you so much. That's my personal note.
Mm-hmm.
And I thank you for allowing me to say that.
Barbara, just generationally, Generation Z has been seeing the videos of the Superdome, and it's really ringing their bells for the first time. People are now coming back from Houston, from Atlanta and Dallas, and they're coming back on a scale that's of biblical proportions because that's how many people actually left.
Yes. And they were, treated so poorly and so badly at first. I mean, we had, when we sued FEMA on behalf of, more than 1,000, almost 2,000 people. And during that time, and let me say 2,000, I meant 2,000 households, because what they were doing that was so vicious is that if you lived in the household, you know how our households are multi-generational, right? So you might be living with your mom, your sisters, your brother, your children who may be grown and their grandchildren. You know, we all live together. That's very common. But they had a rule that they would only recognize one person in the household. One person for relief. And regardless of the fact that there were other, family units within the household, they were ignoring them. And we sued them to make them recognize everybody. Women who were abused by their husbands were being subjected to the only person who could get the money would be the husband who they just left and ran away from.
Wow.
Save them. I mean, that's what we sued over. We sued over, the amount of money people should be getting. They were saying, oh, we're going to only give people money for, a couple hotel nights. We were saying, no, people need real money. And they not only for, more than a couple hotel nights, their homes are gone. They need recovery money. Real money. Then there was a fight over how much money there was just so much. But we fought that fight. And we didn't win everything we wanted, but we won more than they would have ever given if we hadn't fought them. And I'm grateful to the judges in those cases that, adjudicated in our favor. I'm grateful for everybody who did that work. And we'll always be grateful for everyone who has fought for justice for people in Katrina. A big shout out to the Hip Hop Caucus and Reverend Lennox Yearwood, T.C. Mohammed, and all of the people from the Hip Hop Caucus who has been in Katrina, who have been in in New Orleans for the Katrina victims every single year. And not just on the anniversary, continuously working with people, continuously bringing relief, continuously fighting for it. So I want to give them a shout out, in every other church, every other organization that has fought for justice for the people who suffered during Katrina.
Barbara, I want to give you a shout out because you and your organization have been steadfast. I mean, some of us, this is just an anniversary. But in between the anniversary, there are these fights for 2,000s and 2,000 families and 2,000 households. And then there are the details that one person don't equal no one household. Y'all know how we live in a shotgun. And all of the people of the lower Ninth Ward where the levees broke.
Yes.
And the squalor that they had to endure at the Superdome. We remember that. I mean, we remember that. And then, like Kanye said, when we were, I guess, looting or breaking in stores, trying to get something to eat, we were shot like we were uncivilized when we were hungry. And remember, the aid was not coming from FEMA and the federal government. And don't forget, George Bush took a helicopter ride over our problem. He looked down on us. He saw the flooding and had something simple to say, but he did not swim through the flood, walk through the flood, or experience the flood, or to see the human devastation. He just didn't see it. So he missed it. And Kanye, who did see it, said he don't really care about us. And it was a resounding statement that really shook Washington, D.C., Barbara.
But it also shows you about how people can devolve, right? Because, Kanye had some kind of consciousness back then. And people can devolve. They can go from thinking about others to thinking about themselves and thinking that there's some godlike figure. That's that's a tragedy. I'm sorry, folks. You can worship a human all you want to, but you're making a mistake because a human is just human. There's only one God in this universe, and it's a mistake for you to sit around worshiping humans. People think Trump is a god. There are people who think Kanye's a god. It is just craziness. And the worst thing is when they think themselves are gods, because they're not. They're just humans with, bloated hands. We've been looking at the bloated hands on Trump and all the other problems. You're not going to escape that. My organization will be fighting for these foot soldiers who walked across that Edmund Pettus Bridge 60 years ago who knew that there should be a private right of action.
Barbara, I need that phone number. I need that phone number right now.
Yes, people can help, and support the Transformative Justice Coalition by going to tjcoalition.org, tjcoalition.org. You can donate to us. You can send checks. You can do whatever you want to, but also you can volunteer. We work across 29 states, and we're going to be working with those foot soldiers. We're going to be in that Supreme Court. We're going to be filing briefs. We're going to make sure that our voices are heard.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News Now. President Trump is covering several topics during a cabinet meeting at the White House. He recognized American workers when noting the upcoming Labor Day holiday.
Every policy of the Trump administration is designed to lift up the American worker, promote great-paying blue-collar jobs, and to rebuild the industrial bedrock of our nation.
He said the average worker has gotten a $500 wage increase since he took office. The pumpkin spice latte is back on the menu at Starbucks. The coffee giant calls the fall favorite its, quote, most popular seasonal beverage of all time, end quote. The PSL will be priced the same as it was last year. And an artist